With us now in the studio is Professor Stella Nkomo, President of the Africa Academy of Management, Professor of Human Resource Management at the University of Pretoria. Professor Nkomo, welcome to the Gibbs studio, welcome to AOM in Africa. But hey, I'm welcoming you. This is your event. You're one of the co-sponsors of AOM in Africa. Let's start at the beginning, though, the Africa Academy of Management. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you for talking with me. The Africa Academy of Management is a new organization we formed 2 years ago, and we are a group of academics and practitioners who are interested in advancing management knowledge in Africa.
2 years ago, a young organization. Are you making strides?
We are making strides. We are now have close to over 50 members, and we're very proud to be here. But we're also proud of some events we've already done to deal with one of our main missions, which is to build research capacity among young African scholars. So we feel like we're making progress.
I want to come back to that in a moment, because I was looking at your website and I saw a phrase which caught my eye. Yes. It said there's a dearth of knowledge about management in Africa, and it struck me that could be read in two different ways. A dearth of knowledge about management, in Africa, or a dearth of knowledge about management in Africa.
Okay. Okay, let me explain.
Which is it? Because both could apply.
Both do apply.
Yes.
But because we're primarily academics, it is a dearth of knowledge about management in Africa. Okay? It doesn't mean that management doesn't exist in Africa. But what is not happening, that knowledge is not being captured in enough depth, written about, published, and shared.
Especially shared with our colleagues in the West, for whom Africa can sometimes be terra incognita.
Yes, it can be, and it's very simple. Pick up a management textbook, go to the index, look under Africa. You will not even find that in the index. So even though all of these things are happening in Africa around management, Africa having some of the fastest growing economies in the world, we know very little about that. So our idea is advancing knowledge and letting people be aware of what we can learn about management from this part of the world.
Is the rest of the world aware of what Africa has to offer? I've done a series of interviews over the past couple of days with some amazingly bright young people, PhD students from places like Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi. I mean, there's some fabulous minds out there.
There are many people. There are many people working on very innovative projects, figuring out things like how do you market your products to rural communities. So there's great knowledge. The problem is that the overwhelming image of Africa, unfortunately, has been negative. And so when people see images of Africa from the rest of the world, they think of Africa historically as being hopeless, poverty, conflict. So many people might look at that and say, what could we possibly learn about management from Africa? And it's just the opposite, that in fact some brilliant things are being done here that we need to share with the rest of the world.
What about Africa's self-image? Does that sometimes need a bit of work too?
Oh, definitely. You know, I think that has been one of the problems, and it's actually an interesting question from the knowledge perspective. One of the things we've learned is that many of our young scholars don't submit research papers to the international journals, and they'll say things like, well, I don't think they'd be interested in what we're doing in Africa. So sometimes we kind of censor ourselves because we don't really believe that the knowledge or what we're doing might have implications for the rest of the world. So we talk about that in our association, of being willing to share that knowledge.
So that brings it then to this conference. Why this conference? Why now? Why here in South Africa?
Okay, great. I think now, in fact, I like to tell this story. I don't know if anybody's told this story. The Economist, about 10 years ago, they had a picture of Africa on the magazine. It said hopeless continent. You know, flash forward, about a year ago, it said the rising continent. And I think what the Academy of Management realized is that Africa now, compared to the traditional hubs of growth, has great prospects for growth. Part of being part of the emerging market, and so a lot can be learned about, for example, how do you deal in dynamic environments? How do you deal with turbulent environments? So I think the Academy felt very clearly that there's a lot that our membership can learn about management by coming here and looking at management issues in this context. And that's what this conference has been about. And that people would foster conversations and collaborators with people in this continent to advance knowledge and practice about management. So for me, this is where we should be. The Academy should not be anywhere else but here at this point in time.
Has the conference met your expectations?
It has exceeded my expectations. And I think the thing that has exceeded, first of all, the number of countries that are represented, the number of African management scholars and doctoral students we've been able to get here, and the whole vibe has been one of conversation. I want to learn. Tell me more. I didn't know that. And you know, sometimes with academics, we think we know all the answers. So it's been kind of nice that I see people kind of scratching their head, being surprised. And so many projects are going to come out of this conference on different aspects. People are forming natural alliances to do more research, to come up with a practical idea. I've had so many people come to me and said, Stella, we like to invite a young African scholar to our university. So I am more than happy. You know, when you plan these kind of things, you never know really what's going to happen. So it has exceeded my personal expectations.
I'm pleased to hear about the plans, because my next question is, how do you keep it going? Conferences always end on a high note, everyone's up, and then they go to the airport and they're back into their home life, their domestic situation, their normal working life, and, oh, did I attend a conference last week? How do you keep it going?
Well, one of the things, let me just do something concrete. The Africa Academy of Management is going to try to keep it going by having another conference in Africa next year. So we hope to do it that way. That's going to be in Botswana. We have it all set. The other thing we're doing is that there are opportunities for people to publish articles in 3 journals. So we've gotten 3 journals to agree to do special issues coming out of this conference. So that's going to keep it going. And we're going to have everyone share their email addresses. But I feel confident that this is the beginning of something great. I don't think it's going to die here, because not only did we touch people cognitively, but I've heard a lot of heart things happen to people. So I think it will continue.
Good luck. Professor Nkomo, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.